Did Napoleon actually shoot cannons into the pyramids? I don't think that happened, did
I think that might have happened. Maybe. Don't quote me on that.
I feel like that's something I should know. Like,
Yeah.
I've watched like multiple documentaries on the pyramids, and I feel like at some point they're
You know
like,
what it was missing?
here's a cannon hole from Napoleon. That seems like an important cannon hole.
You know what
in
it was
the
missing?
fucking Pyramid of Giza.
The History Channel voiceover.
Yeah.
Right? And
that would fix everything.
that's what I'm saying, but that's what the movie was.
It's like a documentary.
That's what the movie was. It's all the
It's paced
footage.
like a documentary.
Yeah, but without the voiceover.
It's not like a historical drama.
And Napoleon, you know, he was facing great odds and blah blah blah. And so he did. What? Why did he fire cannons? What was the result? Was it a coincidence that the people dropped down? Did he know?
Well, it was intimidating the primitive
But
army.
did he know that that was going to happen?
Yeah, it's Napoleon. He's a highly intelligent military strategist.
Apparently.
Theoretically.
That lost
We
like.
didn't see any of that.
They said that at the
We've
closing
seen zero like military
strategy, like pushing around the things.
In the battles, there were tactics, but we
Yeah.
never saw him strategizing or like figuring shit out.
He didn't. What he needed was
sitting at his desk and then having the with his man and the map.
Yeah,
we got none of the military strategists.
He didn't have a second, or he did have a second, but we never had the conversation.
There
with
were
him.
like 5 or 6 seconds that were in a scene each and then gone. Like his brother was at the beginning with him, and then he just disappears, and there were multiple commanders that just like came and went. It's like, you know, a movie will consolidate like 6 or 7 historical characters to make one. It didn't do that. It just left everyone as a role. So it'd pop up, it's the Duke of fucking Edinburgh. He says a line, he's gone. We're in a movie that, consolidate.
Yeah, it comes up, Duke of Edinburgh.
And he's like,
and then it cuts.
So,
Napoleon!
we open with actually a pretty fucking awesome opening sequence. We see like Napoleon and all these troops getting their shit together. There's some base in France, which I think is in France. They're trying to take it. All the cannons are facing the shipyard.
The English are blockading them or something.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Things are happening. Events are transpiring.
Apparently.
And we know of them. And so they enter into this battle. His horse gets fucking wrecked by a cannonball, which is like shocking and gruesome and gory and
he was
amazing.
sort of like nervous and...
he was like breathing heavily, and he races up and he does the Napoleon thing and he wins, and it was fucking awesome.
Did we open with that, or did we have I think we had a thing where they were talking about it, right?
Yeah, there was a little bit where he was like scouting it out and talking to his brother and...
We had the beheading of Marie Antoinette.
Was that Marie Antoinette, was it?
I believe so, yeah. I know that from Assassin's Creed. We had the beheading and the post-revolution sort of organisational sort of thing where they had like the kangaroo courts and stuff like that, and they were I guess organising with Napoleon to get rid of the English.
On France.
And unfortunately, what we saw in that sort of pre-battle sequence where they were doing it was a sign of things to come. Right? So we had the battle, just to skip past that, and it was really great.
Yeah.
It was really
visually beautiful, immersive, impactful, shocking.
And then it faded to white. And we were
faded to white.
For the first time, but not the last time.
Correct. It's like fading to black, only fresh and new. And it hurts your eyes.
And then lots of other stuff happened.
Alright. So then we enter into like some awkward, formal like courtship with him and his wife. And I guess... Or would you say 2/3 of the film is their relationship?
I don't have a problem with that though.
That's
necessarily in principle. Right?
A romantic drama is a genre of cinema.
But we didn't see any of the romance.
Go on.
We didn't see any of the romance, right? All we saw was them fighting. That was what we saw, the romance and like the awkward bits. We never saw them we saw maybe a couple of moments of them sort of canoodling.
Yeah, they weren't lovey-dovey, but I don't know, I kind of liked that dynamic more than the traditional, like,
Sure.
oh darling, your eyes are like blah blah. It was kind of like weird and humorous in parts.
It had you know what it had? A lot of the parts had like Wes Anderson sort of vibes.
Yeah.
With, like, the score and stuff. There'd be something sort of really weird happening.
And with her, he was like rather like kooky and weird. There was a scene where like she's getting her makeup done and he walks in and he's like,
It seemed like an extra, like a deleted scene.
Yeah. I just want to say I know nothing about Napoleon, like at all. Like there are some historical time frames where I have like a base level of
Waterloo
knowledge.
or whatever.
No, I'm not. The only thing I know about Waterloo is the song Bad, but like I don't know if any of this is historically accurate. Like how much of his like legend and mythos is the relationship? Is that a big part of his?
I think the problem is for me is that I didn't know that much either, and now having watched this 3-hour movie, I feel like I know less.
You've forgotten stuff that you used to know. The movie's deleted stuff that you had.
I had to make room for information that I had.
Yeah. I genuinely liked the film overall, and I thought it was a well-executed film, but it felt like you needed to have a base knowledge of something that happened with Napoleon, and it kind of assumed a lot that you knew what was happening, and then it really clicked through scenes really quick. Like, if you had a drinking game where you took a shot every fucking time jump, it'd be a great game. You'd be
like
fucking
15 time jumps or something.
They'd show like a really quick little scene of like politics or like,
and then they teleport to the result of those politics.
Yeah, and then fades to white, and then time jump,
and then you teleport back to the.
And then you
romance.
have the romance, which is like a 40-minute sequence, which was nice and fine. And Joaquin's obviously a good actor. That lady was fine.
I thought the movie was awful. I thought it was awful. I thought that Joaquin's acting was not there. I thought that, and again, I was watching the trailer, and I was sort of taken aback by the scenes that they chose to show, where he's basically not saying anything. He's just going to go like, I know he's trying to be stoic.
Yeah,
but
he's putting up a wall as his character.
But it looks more like a bewildered sort of look, and that was like 50% of his screen time. He was just not saying anything. He was just kind of looking around like.
Well, all the military strategic moments and the formalities, he had a wall on, and you could see like emotions like bubbling up and him like fighting them down. It was when he was with her that he was like kooky and irreverent and emotional.
I think for me, the point there was, so let's say all the stuff leading up to him becoming emperor. Essentially, for me, he had no character and no agency, right? Because later in the film they talked about his unbridled ambition and how he was arrogant and all this sort of stuff, and we didn't see any of that.
Yeah, we didn't see any of that.
So I think he went up like 3 or 4 different ranks essentially in society.
Yeah.
And every single time it was somebody else giving him that.
Yeah.
He didn't show that he wanted it. He didn't try to get it. There was nothing. He would just stand there and just let them talk and say nothing.
Yeah.
They go, well, you're the fucking emperor now.
Yeah.
Right? And then it would just move on. Right? Do you see what I mean? And
I see what you mean. They did show like a little bit of ambition when it came to the actual battles, but yeah, you're right. For the most part, there was no like main like thrust of his urges or his wants. He was, it's just like it's happening. Like the moments that you think the movie will be based on seem to happen like so quick, and then they're over. They're like, you don't have time to like live in those moments and experience them and see how he reacts to them.
There's no build up. So there's no build up or context or anything. Right? The only reason I actually knew what was happening in any given period
was Assassin's Creed.
No, it was because of the text on the screen.
Yeah.
It would tell us what's happening and who this person is.
Yeah.
and then I go, oh, okay, and then they have a little conversation and then it would move on.
I thought if they had accents, it would have differentiated all the cultures.
Sure.
Really nice, but like he didn't have a French accent, like the Russians didn't have a Russian accent, like they all just spoke like flat English, which was kind of an interesting choice because it was hard to distinguish all these different cultures.
Who are these
and, like,
people?
He's in Egypt, then he's in Russia, then like we have the Russian Tsar, then like there's like there were like fucking 40 different people who got like a little name thing, were there for a scene and were gone. And I don't know whose side they were on, what their motivations were.
Well,
but if they had an accent, like I'd be like, oh, he's Russian.
Yeah.
Russia bad until they... No, but Russia good until they were bad.
Well, but the point is that, yeah, there was no context behind anything.
Why didn't Napoleon have a French accent? That's an interesting choice, isn't it?
Well,
was he French? He was French?
Yeah. Well, so it seems like Walking was even putting on an accent, right? I don't know what his native... Where's he from, like Canada or something, right?
No, I think like LA.
Okay, yeah.
They were like Hollywood.
I don't know. I don't think he was sort of putting on an accent, but it didn't really.
Well, it was just kind of a like no accent though. It was like getting
really
rid
flat.
of any characteristics that would like have anything to do with culture. It certainly wasn't French.
I think the point is that, you know, for me, there was very little characterization and very little context to anything that was happening, and therefore there were no stakes.
Yeah.
I wasn't even like, why do I care that this is happening right now? You know, what is happening? Who are these people?
Yeah.
Right, you know, it's like, we don't even get the full breadth of like the political situations that they
Not
were
at
in.
all.
It was just happening.
Yeah.
Oh, this is happening now, so now we're here.
It's like the event had already been decided, and obviously it had, because it's history.
Well, they talked about it off screen.
Yeah, and then like we're shown the decision, and then it moves off. We don't see the events like build up to any like climax or and revelation.
And again,
suspense, tension.
Again, the point is as well is that he has this. We're told that he has this relationship with this person, right? And he does in fact have a relationship with her. But all we ever see is there is some scandal. You know, she's cheating on him. She can't have his kid. And then we see them like fight, and then have some weird sort of makeup, and then he like goes away and then writes some sopping letter to her, and then we keep going, and that's all we ever see. We don't see them, you know, sort of like being in love with each other. Which is
I don't think they were. I think their relationship was weird and awkward at the beginning, and then fractured, and like there's that scene where they get in the divorce, and like he just fucking like snaps and breaks and slaps.
But that's all we see though.
Yeah.
Right. So it's
well,
like
that's their relationship. I don't think they were like a lovey-dovey couple.
That's true, I suppose. Well,
I think that was like some. It was a weird fucking. He's like a control freak, and he's jealous, and she's a slut.
But that's.
Oh, you can't say that in 2023. She was promiscuous, which is her own choice as a woman.
I think the point, so much time passed too, like 15 years or something.
Oh, more than that. I think up to like the halfway point. It was probably like fucking 30, 40 odd years.
Yeah, it was
the whole
something.
thing.
Yeah, it was.
There were a lot of time jumps.
I think that for me, a lot of it basically amounts to like poor writing, right, or poor direction or something. I
think visually it was beautiful.
But that doesn't mean anything though.
If there's no narrative, well, if you're not emotionally invested in
if I'm watching a battle, if I don't know what's happening or I don't care, you know, again, it's like what does Napoleon stand to gain from this? We don't know, right? You know, he's doing this thing. What's he stand to gain? Oh, he's going to win the battle. Okay. And then, you know, then he doesn't win the battle. And then he goes away, and then he comes back and he tries again. And it was, at the end, you kind of missed it, right? They had like a...
I went to the bathroom like fucking 5 minutes before the end. I missed the end. I thought it was going to finish at 10:30. Apparently it wasn't.
They had a closing scrawl. Right.
What did that say? That would have been nice to read.
And well, it was summarising how many men he'd lost in all the battles that he fought. So it was almost like setting him up to show how much of a failure he was, and it kind of showed that, right? So okay, well, so we saw him win 2 battles,
Yeah.
I think, right? And then
The overarching like narrative though was like that he was like worshipped as like a deity and.
But they were just telling us that.
Yeah.
They didn't show us that. Though.
Yeah.
So they kept telling us that he won this battle and he won this battle and he won this battle, and then they show us a battle and he loses the battle and goes away in shame.
Yeah.
And then he wins a battle and we see that, but then he loses more battles.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? And so a lot of the movie was. They were telling us what was happening, but they weren't showing us.
Yeah, and telling us in really quick, succinct ways, and then moving on.
All the important bits were happening off screen.
It was a romance between him and the lady.
But
Oddly.
Well, it was one side of a romance, right? It was the bad bits of the romance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they showed us one, like, good bit, where there's, or a couple of good bits where they're sort of giggling and joking with each other. But that was like 10% of the romance.
Yeah.
The 90% was the controversy.
That is some romances.
Sure.
Like, there are toxic relationships.
That's fair, that's
Sid
fair.
and Nancy, Sex Pistols and shit.
I don't know, I thought that it was a fucking, just a very shockingly poorly executed movie.
It was hard to engage with it, because of the editing and because it seemed to assume that we had a base knowledge of the historical events that were transpiring when I did not at all.
No. Yeah, well, we just don't know. We don't know. I felt like I didn't really understand Napoleon as a person.
No.
Even just the movie, not even the historical. Screw the historical stuff. You know, what was Napoleon's character?
What motivated him? Why did he do the things he did?
You know, how did he feel about anything, right?
Yeah.
He just kind of
He
like...
was jealous of his wife's promiscuity.
But that's just everybody's like that, though. Unless they're not, though, but then he accepted it and he was happy that that's fine, but then he cheated as well, but we never saw any of that, right? He didn't come to grips with his infidelity overseas or being lonely or anything.
Well, I think he was just like controlling of her and like the same things didn't apply to him.
And I think that you're right, and I think that that's maybe what they intended.
There's a battle that he left to go back to
Egypt.
Yeah, because he heard one of his generals told him. If that happened in real life, then I guess that is a big part of his story. That like he bailed on a fucking battle and like threatened to risked being called a deserter just to go back to his fucking cheating wife.
Yeah, that's fair. Right?
Yeah.
And so, but it's just kind of like, it just happened though, right? It's just happening. This stuff is just happening to this guy, this person.
Yeah.
Right? And he's not really... Again, it has a couple of moments where, he like leaves a battle, right? But he doesn't wrestle with that decision. It just happens.
Yeah.
And he just leaves, right? There's no him pondering it or considering the consequences. Did he care about the consequences? Was he sure of himself that that's the right decision? None of that happened. He's gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, there's no conflict. Where's the conflict? There's no conflict.
I agree with you with all the military stuff, but I think the relationship like made sense and was laid out for us.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think that there wasn't enough contrast in the relationship.
Well, there was a scene where he like ate her out under the table, and the scene where he came in and he was like...
Okay, what I mean is that if 90% of it's bad, right, and 10% of it's good, that says to us that a portion of it was good. So over 15 years, there would have been a large portion, a fairly significant portion of it that would have been a good relationship. It wasn't just purely bad. We know that, right?
Yeah.
So for me, then... The point is that we didn't see enough of the good. We only saw a tiny little bit of the good, and we didn't see, and all we saw was the bad. It's like I'll give you an example. It's like in the Star Wars movies, Episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Right. This is a great like Plinkett commentary bit. Right. We're told about Anakin and Obi-Wan's friendship, but we never see any of it.
Yeah.
All we see is the bad bits.
That's fair. I disagree with you. I think that their relationship was just like toxic and fractured and broken. That's the relationship they were showing, and I didn't need any more like traditional love scenes or happy moments with them. I think we got enough little like cute fucking weird moments. It was kind of refreshing actually that it wasn't a typical historical drama romance. It was different.
What was? Well, okay, I'll give you a question. Right? What was? Who was Joséphine as a person? What you know? What made her tick? What? How did she feel about anything? Yeah.
Well, alright. She was promiscuous. She felt base human emotions. She wasn't fully developed, and neither was he at all.
And that's
which
my
is bad for the title character.
Considering the amount of time that the romance took up, that's my problem.
That's fair.
No characterization.
That's
right. So she was the most basic of basic points. There's plenty of movies where like the Empress would consult with her maids or something about why she's not getting pregnant, or maybe she's taking something to avoid getting pregnant, or you know, or she's crying because she just had a fight with what's his face, like by herself, right? She breaks down because she feels like she's betrayed him, or she doesn't care that she's betrayed him.
We didn't really get any scenes of her just by herself. That's with him.
That's what I mean, right? There's no agency between any of them. Things are just sort of happening.
Yeah.
You know, and this is what I mean. We get all these critical moments, but we see the critical moment, but none of the context, none of the before, none of the after, which gives thrust.
Well, I definitely agree with that with all the military scenes. Let me do a rapid fire on my notes.
Sure.
Did Napoleon actually shoot cannons into the pyramids? I don't think that happened, did
I think that might have happened. Maybe. Don't quote me on that.
I feel like that's something I should know. Like, I've watched like multiple documentaries on the pyramids, and I feel like at some point
you know what it was missing?
Here's a cannon hole from Napoleon. That seems like an important cannon hole.
You know what
in
it was
the
missing?
Fucking Pyramid of Giza.
The History Channel voiceover.
Yeah.
Right? And
that would fix everything.
That's what I'm saying, but that's what the movie was.
It's like a documentary.
That's what the movie was. It's all the
paced
footage.
like a documentary.
Yeah, but without the voiceover.
It's not like a historical drama.
And Napoleon, you know, he was facing great odds and blah blah blah. And so why did he fire cannons? What was the result? Was it a coincidence that the people dropped down? Did he know?
Well, it was intimidating the primitive
But
army.
did he know that was going to happen?
Yeah, it's Napoleon. He's a highly intelligent military strategist.
Apparently.
Theoretically.
That lost
We didn't see any of that.
They said that at the
We've seen zero like military strategy,
like pushing around the things.
In the battles, there were tactics, but we never saw him strategizing or like figuring shit out.
He didn't. What he needed was
sitting at his desk and then having the with his man and the map.
Yeah,
we got none of the military strategists.
He didn't have a second, or he did have a second, but we never had the conversation.
There were like 5 or 6 seconds that were in a scene each and then gone. Like his brother was at the beginning with him, and he just disappears, and there were multiple commanders that just like came and went. It's like, you know, a movie will consolidate like 6 or 7 historical characters to make one. It didn't do that. It just left everyone as their role. So it'd pop up, it's the Duke of fucking Edinburgh. He says a line, he's gone. We're in a movie that consolidate.
Yeah, it comes up, Duke of Edinburgh.
And he's like,
and then it cuts. Oh, dear Joséphine, I love you even though you have betrayed me.
Destiny has brought me this lamb chop. I like that.
Yeah, that was good. That was the Wes Anderson shit, right? That had really weird.
It was kind of, humorous at moments. It wasn't a comedy, but it was intentionally
It
humorous.
should have been like Death of Stalin.
Just like hard comedy.
Well, you've seen Death of Stalin? It's
Yeah.
not even hard comedy. It's kind of like that Wes Anderson-y
Yeah, but
sort of.
this wasn't trying to be a comedy.
It could have been though.
It was
could have been
almost there.
It could have been an amazing like kind of semi-satire of fucking.
And then like it'd be
Napoleon.
funny that you never see the battle.
Yeah.
Like he comes in, he's like, woo! Takes off his hat, and he's covered in blood and dirt and mud. And like, what? Where's the revolution? The ice battle was beautiful and exciting.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Yeah.
She's barren. The divorce is the main crux of the drama, and then fucking take a shot every time jump. Accents would have helped. Waterloo, there were tactics and stuff. And there was like a little bit of like agency and tension, but you're right, like none of it was set up. I still don't know anything about the Battle of Waterloo.
No, we don't know.
It was delayed because of the weather. He didn't want to charge. I think I know this not because of the movie. It was delayed because of the weather, and he didn't want to charge the cavalry in because the mud would fuck with that.
Stuff, yeah.
But he didn't want those two forces to combine, and then they did, and then he lost.
Yeah, well, that was like another micro conflict, right? Like the.
And you think Waterloo would be like the main like.
Well, this is the
and
point.
it kind of was, but it didn't have any of the build up. The whole build up was the romance, and then she just died. And then Waterloo.
And then he died.
I missed that. I missed the end.
He got exiled again, and then he died. Yeah, it should have been. Pick one of the battles. Have that be the final.
Yeah.
With the stakes of whatever's going to happen next. Right.
And just have it confined to like a few months.
Have a starting battle where he succeeds and moves up. Have a failure battle where he fails. Right, and then have the stakes ramp up. He's gonna get executed, or he's gonna be the emperor, or what. Pick whichever period we were in, and lead up to that moment.
Yeah,
and
you need more of like these rise through the ranks, the military strategist, his mind, his tactics, all of that.
What makes him tick? What makes the character?
His motivations, his history,
what are his fears? What are his
why he is the way he is? What happened to him to make him like this?
That what that sounds like? That sounds like movie 101. Remember movies? When they made movies?
No. So we've given a lot of shit to Ridley in the past, joking that he's an elderly man who has soiled himself and is wandering around the set, and he's not. Look, I mean, the guy made Alien and Blade Runner and Gladiator, right? Right. And then we all watched Alien Covenant, like, this happens. He's grandpa, I'm not expecting my fucking, 9-year-old grandpa to be the director of Gladiator anymore. That's fine. But do you think any part of this mishmash, this hobbled together sequence of non-context is his problem, or do you think it was a script? Because I don't think it had anything to do with the narrative, and I think that's where he normally
I think it's the
fucks up.
script.
Because visually it was beautiful.
I think it's the script. I think that I don't know the context of what's happened, but I get the feeling this is something that we've seen before, right? Where whether or not they've given him free rein and he sort of ends up overshadowing writers or the screenplayers or whatever.
Maybe there was a lot more and it was just ridiculously long and they cut it all down.
Could have been the editing. But you can't...
It feels like it's like an 8-hour movie that's been cut down to a 3-hour
I don't think that there was any plan. I don't think they planned anything. Well, no, because of how much was in the movie.
Yeah.
There shouldn't have been anywhere near all this stuff in the movie.
If we just knew going in that it wasn't anything to do with like a military strategist and it was just a romantic drama, and we had a base understanding of the events that transpired.
I would have enjoyed it, probably.
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed it. I like the set piece, but it's Ridley's visual style.
Yeah,
And that's
like
always
the
great.
ice battle was amazing. Waterloo looked beautiful.
All the framing and all the sets and all the stuff was great,
It
right?
was just hard to engage with the events.
Well, I just didn't care
Be
about
emotionally
anything that was happening. I
invested.
didn't know what was happening. I didn't care. I don't know who this person is. I don't know who this person is. I just wanted Joaquin to just emote. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I was waiting for him to just emote and like get angry or get sad or like laugh and there were a couple of moments like that.
Yeah.
And it was really great. And then it would just reset back to him
Yeah, I think some movies showcase like an actor's abilities and others don't. This one didn't really.
No.
Like some movies will like they purposefully go out of their way to illustrate an actor's ability. Like
Sure.
There Will Be Blood with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
It's kind of
It's
all
basically a wank piece for him.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's built around him, and it will just like have long shots just lingering without cuts, and it'll just let him like the little subtleties.
Yeah,
and,
little
like,
subtle
the emotions
movements, yeah.
and like these eyebrows frinkling.
What's
that wasn't this.
What's Daniel Plainview's character? Describe Daniel Plainview.
Oh, fuck.
You know?
That's like a 2-hour video.
But he's like, yeah, he's
ambitious, he's
he's
blind to emotion,
he's
he's hard to
arrogant.
connect,
I think
he becomes embittered.
I think he has a little bit of family loyalty, right?
He takes in the boy, but does he take in the boy because he's using him to
I think he did initially, and then
he falls in love with the boy, then the boy becomes injured,
and he tosses him
too
to the
hard,
side,
but
yeah.
he feels guilt about it.
And the brother,
I've abandoned my son. I've abandoned my son.
I think he ends up feeling guilty in his old age, but he's too arrogant to sort of roll it back.
Yeah, he is genuinely like helping the community and building schools and giving them bread.
But ultimately,
then he just descends into like psychosis almost. Like his character arc is just like
well, his brother, right? He has his brother, and I think again that's he's almost glad that he's got a new familial bond.
Yeah.
Right, someone who he can rely on, right? Because he doesn't trust a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know. So that's a character. There you go.
The character.
That's a.
Other than Tony Soprano, that's the character.
Yeah, the character. That's
Yeah.
And we know that, right? And that's why we love that movie. You know, and so this could have been that. It could have been something similar, you know, because I love Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh yeah, the guy is obviously immensely talented. That's no secret anymore.
And I think I'm really disappointed that what I saw in the trailer was essentially what happened, right?
The trailer wasn't fucking deceiving for once.
Well, with the trailers, they try to pick the best bits.
Yeah.
If that's and the trailer wasn't very good.
Yeah.
I was excited because it was a Ridley Scott movie about Napoleon with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Right, that's what excited me, not the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they show this and it's him, you know, looking like a wooden doll. And that was kind of him in the movie.
So yeah, I think in conclusion, the visuals are beautiful. The like historical crux of the film was incredibly hard to follow. I think Joaquin did fine. He's obviously a good actor. It wasn't a fucking
Actor problem wasn't an actor problem.
yeah. It wasn't a movie to go and watch fucking Joaquin be Joaquin. I don't really have a problem with the romance. I think the romance was kind of the strongest part of the film. I'd
agree with that.
It was the strategy and like the military mind that I was missing. That seems like the most important and fascinating element of the character, and it just wasn't here.
That's what I was waiting. Well, that's what would have sucked me in.
Yeah, like there's a lot going on with fucking all of that.
Yeah.
It's incredibly like intricate and fascinating.
What did we learn about...
He was one of a kind, right? Like this guy's level of like military
It was Alexander
mind,
again.
Yeah, was like he's like in the top 5 of all time.
Yeah.
But we didn't get that.
Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great,
Napoleon.
Caesar, Napoleon.
Yeah.
You know, and where was that? Yeah, it's like what...
He was eating out his miso under the fucking dining room table, grunting like a pig. What did he say?
Well,
It was amazing. Something like that.
What did we learn about battles in that time period? Nothing.
What was Napoleon's reign? What did it mean? Why was it so significant? Why are we still talking about it?
How did it
What
change
happened to
France?
Waterloo?
Yeah.
He lost?
Yeah, he lost, and then...
Because of the weather.
But
and
then-
ego?
Well, we didn't see
He
Ego.
charged in when he should have retreated.
Mate, I think he charged in because he didn't have any other choice.
He ran out of time,
Yeah.
and rather than... Well, I guess maybe he probably couldn't have retreated.
We
He
don't-
ran out of time because of the weather.
We're speculating. We can go and look on Wikipedia and it will explain to us why things happen the way they happen.
Why the movie was the way it was. Why the things happened in the movie.
But the movie doesn't explain that, so therefore, yeah.
It assumed that we had a basic knowledge or even maybe an advanced knowledge of the historical reverence, the fucking events that transpired, the battles won and lost, the sides, the warfare,
the politics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then didn't show. Well, it showed. We're just repeating ourselves.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to say, Steve?
Nah, it's disappointing.
That's fair. I didn't hate it. I mean, I enjoyed laughing at it with you.
But that's then if you go and watch it.
I think there is an element of it which is fundamentally flawed, and that element is probably the narrative.
And it ruins the movie, for me, it ruins the rewatchability of it.
I will rewatch it one day, and it'll be interesting the opinion I take of it at that point, because there's been lots of movies where I've completely shifted one way or another. Like, I was super positive, then the rewatch I was super negative, or I became super negative after a first initial positive.
Sure. Yeah, well, yeah. So
I'll give it like 4 years and I'll rewatch it. When Joaquin dies, I'll rewatch it. How about that?
That sounds fine.
I own that.
That's it. That's it.
Alright, and you watch it. Subscribe, hit that bell in the comments. Tell me. You're killing me, Alex. 3 hours. 3 hours. Hey,